Hey guys, welcome back to Live on RealiTEA with Trisha and Kiley on the Russell Hand Show, where we have all of the latest live feed updates from last night on Big Brother. So we know that there was an episode shown, but there's also some feeds going on while the episode was airing for everyone else. So if you didn't realize that this is a spoiler show, then please leave now. But for those of you who are interested in all of the latest tea, here we go. We're going to kick it off with hearing the latest on the live feeds. You know the drill. Drop us a comment. If as we go through the broadcast, we will be hitting on the comments and questions that you may have. Anything about your favorite players, your least favorite players. Drop some thoughts on last night's episode. We'll be sure to pop those up on the screen as we go through the episode and chat about them. So, Kylie, what happened on the feeds yesterday since our last episode of Spilling the Tea?
So one of the things is the house guests got to play a game yesterday, and some
Oh,
questions were sent in by the viewers, and they got to go around and answer kind of like superlatives in high school. And they got to talk about the funniest house guest and the most attractive, and some interesting things were spilled in the game. So, one of the questions that was asked is, who do you most wish was here that is not? And they all went around. Most of them said that they wish their partner was there.
womp
And
womp.
right, Enzo wanted people from the brigade. Obviously, Nicole Franzel said she wanted Victor. Danny wanted Dom. Bailey wanted Swaggy. But an interesting one is that Kaser said that he wishes Derek Levasseur was in the house because he would have enjoyed playing against him.
Oh.
And it was really interesting because we know that Cody and Kaser aren't really on the same page. And for him to kind of have that slip of, I would like to play against him and not with him, maybe he's going to create that divide a little bit more between Cody and Kaser.
Yeah, I think Kaser, he just loves the game of Big Brother and he wants to play against the best. He wants to play against the best of the best. And we know Derek was a great player. Thanks to Cody giving
Yeah.
him that. But yeah, I love that he said that. I think it really shows us what, for those of us who love Kaser and love the game that he plays, I think it really just shows us what kind of player he is.
Right, that mentality of he wants to go against the best of the best, but not necessarily with them, but against them.
Yeah,
So it'll be
he wants to
interesting
beat
to
Derek.
see.
That's
Yeah,
what
it'll
I
be
get out of that.
interesting to see if, you know, that comment holds any weight down the road because it definitely lets it slip a little bit that some of that pre-gaming that was going on out there, Kaser definitely wasn't involved with it, and maybe is going to create that divide more. Another question that they got asked that I thought was fun was, who do they think cried the most in the house? So, Trisha, who do you think personally cried the most in the Big Brother house? There's a lot of good ones to choose from.
Well, if we were just going with this season and we're only on day 8, I would say Nicole F. Cry.
Yeah,
She's
I
cried
think
so
she's.
many times.
I
Um,
watched her face as this question was read, and you could tell she was sitting there like, these bitches better not say my name.
do not, do not say me.
Yeah. So one big one that was said by a lot of people was Josh Martinez, and that's who came to mind for me because that big meatball cried every other second. So I think that if I was in the house, I would have given it to Josh as well.
Yeah. But when I think of criers too, I always think, and I cannot remember her name, but she played on like maybe BB 15 or 16 or I don't know, 12 a while back. And she wore like that Alabama shirt and had the long, and she was a nurse. And she just, her,
Danielle?
yeah, Danielle. She just, every time she was in the DR, she was just crying every
Yeah.
single time. She's
Yeah.
who always sticks out to me. But Josh, I mean, I think he's shocking because we don't see a lot of guys cry as much as we do Josh.
Yeah. Well, and it was kind of funny because there were two guys brought up, and they also brought up Bunky from BB3, and they really threw it
Oh.
back a long ways. And it's probably pretty accurate because Bunky cried a lot too. It would be interesting if they had an official count and they could let us know who is the biggest crier in
Ding.
Big Brother.
Just ting,
Because
ting, 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 ting.
yeah, you cry a lot.
Can someone get us the Reddit tracker of cries, please?
So another thing interesting in their little question game that they got to do is David was clueless. I understand his first season on
David
maybe
or Kevin?
David, for sure David,
The real David.
and the real David. He did not know any of the answers to these questions. So I'll give you a pass for BB21. You were a recruit. You came in. You saw your one season of Big Brother while you were in sequester. But you've had an entire year to watch seasons of Big Brother. What are you doing? And to just be completely lost in this house, I feel like there was a better spot somewhere else for David.
I
Not
mean,
on an all-star season.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I like that. I like where your head's at with that. But sometimes, I mean, he is a new player, and he never classified himself as a super fan or said that he was a big fan of this show. So, I mean, he never
Right.
said that, and
Right.
I guess he proved it here.
Yeah, it's really obvious. So
He showed his cards.
he showed his cards.
Well, or maybe he really is really good at playing dumb,
Yeah, no,
and
homeboy is lost. He
and he's
doesn't know
really
what's going on.
I mean, at the beginning of the season, he was like, "What's a veto? What's?" I
Yeah.
mean, he really took it to this level of really dumb,
Yeah.
right? Like,
So tonight will be his first time for a live show. So his first time to get to vote to evict somebody.
maybe this is
So,
strategy for him. Like, y'all
yeah,
keep me because
maybe.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I just see himself being drug along as that goat, you know,
Yeah, and then he
if he
wins.
gets one. No, I don't think so. I don't think this group's going to give it to a goat. So I think David better start figuring things out pretty quick. And one other fun question that they asked the house guests is, who was your favorite celebrity Big Brother contestant? And I know that for Trisha and I, we both loved Tamar, and it seemed to be the consensus that all of the house agreed. They all loved Tamar. I wish that maybe instead of bringing David into the house, there could have been a spot for a celebrity Big Brother. I mean, Shannon Elizabeth was like the biggest fan ever, and I think that could have been an interesting spot instead of bringing back someone that doesn't know the game at all.
I
Tom
would totally
Green.
if Tom, even Ross was great entertainment on Celebrity Big Brother, and he's a huge fan. And Tamar, our confessional queen, like we need the big sunglasses and the hoodie on and
Yeah,
bobbing our head. She entertainment gold, but
for
how
sure.
and okay, like did anyone else catch Julie's tweet or Instagram post at before the season came on when we were like, who's going to be on the cast? And she put, two regular season, like season 2 and season 20 Big Brother keys, and then she put a celebrity Big Brother Julie house guest key. And I
Sure.
was like, a celebrity's going to be on.
Yes, for
Like,
sure. I thought so too.
so I wish CBS would have given us that gold,
Yeah,
but
that would be great, especially since it's not going to be as long as a normal season. Yes, longer than a Celebrity Big Brother one, but they would not have been in the house for 100 days. So it would have been interesting
and
to
what else
see.
do they have to do right now? It's not like they have
Right.
work. So, I mean,
Exactly.
now would have been the perfect time. Just
I
bring them
agree.
in.
I agree. Let's go get them. So, um, also on the feed yesterday, we do see Keisha begin to campaign a little bit. We said yesterday that we really hope somehow she's going to turn it up and start trying to really rally things in her favor. But does Keisha turn it on? No,
Well,
she doesn't.
she well, okay. She turned it on a little bit. So if we're on a gauge here, she's at like a 3, where she was at a
Sure.
0.
Yep,
She's all
right.
the way off. She's warming up a little bit before tonight. Tonight will be the night. She has less than 24 hours. She's finally turning it up. But no,
Right.
she did it. She did start. I think the start realizing, oh, it's me. Like it's
Yeah.
me. No one has told her a plan. No one has said it to her face, and she's starting to come to the realization like it. Oh, no one's told me anything, so it must be me. Light bulb.
Yeah.
Keisha, it is you. You're gonna go home if you don't start firing up and throwing a Keisha rampage.
Right. And she's not doing that. She's still doing her little trend of going around and promising the house guests dumb things like, if I win HOH, you can take a hot shower in my room. Nobody's here for that. They need something that's going to actually benefit them in the game, not just
Keisha's on
you
the
can
wrong
have my
show.
food. Right. She's just I think we all expected Keisha to come in and be that Keisha that we remember from the birthday party. And she's older and she's more mature and she's just not bringing it on that level. So
No.
she may be a little outmatched too. And as much as I wanted her to stay, it's definitely looking like it's going to be Kevin. And honestly, after last night's episode and all of Kevin's funny DRs, and he does lack the self confidence that
But
I
he's
think we
gaining
need.
it. He's gaining it. He's slowly we could see throughout, those DRs, him like slowly get your game
Yeah,
face on, Kevin. Pull it together.
right. He's trying to give himself those little pep talks, and Kevin really wants to be there. So ultimately, I want people that are going to play as hard as they can. So if that's Kevin, then I'd rather Kevin stay anyways. Janelle continues to campaign harder for Keisha than she's campaigning for herself. She has lots of individual conversations with mostly the women in the house and brings up that getting rid of Keisha is getting rid of one of the females, and that the males will have the numbers advantage on them, and that Keisha is not going to be a floater. She's going to show people where she stands. She's not going to try to backdoor you. She's going to be upfront. And with Kevin, you are going to have more of a wishy washy going wherever the numbers are.
I really like Janelle's pitch. I like it. I like it, but I don't necessarily believe Keisha is going to fight any harder if she was to stay this week, to be honest. If you're not fighting while you're on the block and after the veto is not used on you, why would you fight later? Like I feel like Keisha's gonna
Right.
ride that middle. She's gonna do whatever. She's gonna give up her food, give up her hot showers, whatever, to stay. She's gonna tell people what they want to hear to stay if she stays. I don't, but
Right. Now, on the flip side, Kevin is doing his campaign to people, and he's promising a lot more than just hot showers and food and to not eat people's food. Kevin is promising every single person that he's going to owe them one. He's not going to put them on the block. And eventually, Kevin is going to be put on the spot where he's made all of these promises to people that he's not going to be able to keep because he is saying the same thing to everybody. And kind of like Tyler referenced writing too many checks that you can't cash. I think Kevin is setting himself for that. And also, I think Kevin is setting himself up to be the default pawn that
flop
goes up
on.
on the block week after week, just kind of like how Johnny Mack was. And I think we're going to see Kevin in that position multiple times this season where he is on the block in danger of going home because he doesn't have any strong alliances.
Kevin needs to win HOH this next week for to get this rep out of the way. He needs to win
Yeah,
HOH this next week, so people are like, okay, he's a good competitor. I do want him in my alliance. I do want to partner with him. But if he doesn't win HOH, you're exactly right. I think that's what's going to happen next week. He's gonna. I mean, he might go up next week too. He's going to continuously be a pawn every single week.
sure. Sure, sure. So, one other thing that was interesting in the feeds is Janelle brings up why, if Cody wants Keisha to go home, why are we doing what the HOH wants?
Which,
And
by
you
the
have,
way, Cody's finally said, I want Keisha to go home.
right.
He wants Kevin to stay.
So, and Janelle's ideal big brother play, you don't do what the HOH wants. Like, why make it easy for them? If they put two people up, let's get rid of the other person that he wants to keep so that it makes things interesting. And that's the difference in the old school mentality and the new school mentality. New school wants to go with the numbers, they don't want to be that sole vote that goes against what everyone else in the house wants. So even if there are a few people, and I do think Keisha could have 3 or 4 votes, but the majority definitely want to keep Kevin. And my thought is that it's going to be a unanimous vote. What do you think?
Yeah. I do think it's going to be a unanimous vote, but I do also love what Janelle's saying. I love that she's like, let's not give the HOH what they want. That's not what we used to do back in the day. I'm like, heck yeah, Janelle. Like, that's why these old Big Brothers are so good. I'm not saying that the new ones aren't, but those old Big Brother episodes are so good. You really never knew what was going to happen at when it
Right.
got to Thursday. With these newer ones, you kind of do. Everyone seems to play this scared game. So
Yeah.
I like what Janelle's doing. We don't have to do it this week though. We can let Keisha go. Let's keep Kevin. He's great. We like his entertainment factor. But let's do that. Let's do that one of these weeks.
Yeah. And so one thing that I do think is setting up well for the upcoming weeks is in theory, there are a couple bigger groups. We've talked about that 6-person alliance that Memphis has set up with the 3 guys and the 3 girls. But it doesn't seem like everybody is on board with that. We got a really great conversation yesterday with Danny and Nicole Franzel in the bathroom, and they are talking about how Memphis thinks that he is running this game and that he is not. And just Danny and Nicole Franzel are not fans of Memphis. And it's kind of ironic because they are supposed to be in this 6-person alliance and they're just trash talking him.
Why do you think it is that like what has Memphis done to them that has made them like meh?
I think that just his personality rubs them the wrong way. Like he comes in and
Are you there? It's cutting out for you, Kylie. All right, so we might have lost Kylie. So moving into the next piece of the feeds, after Danny is talking to Nicole about Memphis and that not going good for him and Danny not wanting to work for Memphis. If Danny wins HOH next week, we can guarantee that she's going to put up Memphis. Next on the feeds, Nicole Anthony walks into a room full of the Tyler, Cody, Nicole Franzel, and Danny heads together, sitting on a bed, all whispering, talking strategy. This is not good for them. Or well, it's not good for them. So Nicole Anthony walks in, sees this happening, and is like, uh, hey guys, what are y'all doing? So she definitely sees these four all connected. Hey, Kylie, welcome back.
she's back in the game, folks.
So I was just talking. I don't know if you could hear me before you hopped on. I was just talking about how Nicole Anthony walked into the room with Tyler, Cody, Nicole F, and Danny all whispering, and
Right. They
Nicole
were
Anthony kind of catches them.
Yeah, they were huddled together. She definitely knows these are a foursome working together. And she goes back and she spills the tea. She tells Ian and Kevin because she goes back to the have not room. I don't think Memphis is in there. And she goes back and she spills the tea and lets them know that those four are working together. They were very obviously talking game, and Nicole Anthony is going to let people know that this four is a four to be reckoned with. So I think that can spell trouble for this group.
Yeah, especially if they were truly like we know they were talking strategy, but if they were truly planning on staying strong, which we
Mhm.
know Tyler and Cody are very close. So, I mean, this may have been their core group, but yeah, that it'll be interesting to see how that piece plays out.
Yeah, and so I'm just kind of hoping with these people not completely trusting each other that we are going to see a dynamic week with the change in the HOH, and that I don't feel like a lot of alliances were really, really locked in. And so I think it could be interesting who wins HOH, who they put up, who wins safety comp. I think we're going to see things turn up this week in the house for sure.
I'm
Uh,
excited.
yeah, me too.
So another
So,
thing that we found out on the feeds last night is Janelle goes to production and is like, "What happens after we're evicted? Like, do we get to go home?"
right. And so she asks if you get evicted in week 1 or week 2, if you'll be back with your family. And they tell her that they're they will not be going home until at least mid-September. And Bill just asked, "Do you girls think there will be a pre-jury buyback?" I wouldn't be mad at that. Justice for Keisha. So yes,
Justice
it
for
sounds
Keisha.
hashtag
I
justice
love
for
this.
Keisha.
Get that trending, people.
um, so yeah, I think from what Janelle says, if that is accurate, it's mid-August. If they are not going to be going home until mid-September, if they're evicted early, it definitely sounds like there's going to be a battle back. So I think that pretty well confirms it. That will be interesting if any of our favorites do get evicted. I'm usually not here for people coming back into the game,
But
but in a scenario when we have all stars and there's these big names, especially some people we've wanted to see play for so long, I'm here for it. I hope there's a jury battle back.
I also kind of like that it's this early because they're not going to expect that. They're not going to expect the first few going home are in this jury buyback. Normally, it happens a little bit later in the season. So, like,
Right.
if we were to lose Janelle next week or someone that's a firecracker, and they come back in the game, it's gonna be it's gonna be great.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So we will have the eviction episode tonight, which is exciting. We get a little bit of talk about what they think the HOH comp's going to be, who people are going to target, and one interesting thing is we've talked so much about the Nicole Franzel and Janelle feud, but Kaser asks Janelle who she would go for, and Janelle says that she is going for Christmas and she doesn't gel with Christmas and would like to see her out of the house. So that is kind of surprising. What do you think about it?
that is very surprising. So anyone that is watching us, you've heard us talk about Nicole, but if you were on Twitter, along with everyone else in 2020, then you know that there's two types of BB fans: Nicole F fans and Nicole F not fans. So um, everyone's like, why do y'all want to get Nicole F to go home, next week? Or please send Nicole F home next week. Can't stand her any longer. So Janelle's fan base is blowing up based on this. So to hear her say, I want Christmas to go next week is shocking.
Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if Janelle wins. We do get a Christmas and maybe a Nicole F nomination, which I wouldn't be mad at either. Either one of them can go home, in my opinion. I wouldn't be sad about it either way. So that's great.
Yeah. The only thing we'll be missing with Christmas going home is one, seeing her compete, and two, hearing her talk about herself.
Yeah, we got a lot of talk about Christmas. She talked about her AT&T commercial that she filmed. In the little game
Loyal.
in the little game that they played, she talked about how she missed a few seasons because she was in Iraq and just random. She has to always tie it
We
back to
all
herself.
know a person like a Christmas. We all know a Christmas.
Yes, we do.
All right, so moving into um, not only our tweet of the day, we will get to that, but our house guests were also given the power to tweet. So they were able to go into the DR, give some tweets. Production handed them like pretty much a like notepad or something that would allow them to put the tweet. They can't see responses, they can't look at anything. It's just a way for them to like, what would you want to put on Twitter on your account if you were able to. So um a few of these we have a few of these to share with you guys. So the first one comes from our boy Tyler Trevor Taylor, saying playing this game is insanely difficult without Angela. Miss you more than anything, babe. So sweet, right? Great tweet, cool. And then if the interesting part is, however, that all of the people that follow Tyler are replying to this tweet saying, "Nice job, Angela, hyping you up." Hyping yourself up by accessing Tyler's account. So, PSA, everybody, this is actually Tyler. It's not Angela tweeting from Tyler's account for once. And then
Right. He got to share this from the BB house.
the next tweet comes from Bailey, says, I still can't believe I'm an all-star. This is seriously going to be the best summer ever. I wish Swaggy and Velvet so I miss Swaggy and Velvet so much already. I really think I have a good chance at winning this. If I get a power this time, I promise to use it. Wish me luck. Love you, babies. With a kissy emoji. What do you think about Bailey's tweet?
So I am actually impressed with Bailey so far. I think she's making really good connections. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's been just a few days. She hasn't gotten the stress to her yet. She's doing a great job in the house right now. We'll see what happens.
Do you think she
TBD.
put even a little bit of strategy into this tweet by saying, if I get a power this time, I promise to use it?
Yeah, hint, hint, America, please send me a power. But she misused it last time and let her power expire. So I don't know if she's going to be as lucky this time to get another one.
Yeah. And she even gave a shout out to her dog, Velvet.
So sweet.
All right. So that brings us to the tweet of the day from our friend Kat. Let me get that up here for everyone to see.
Kat
And we
is
know
just gold.
she
Everything
is.
she posts is hilarious.
We have shared so many of her tweets, but she rocks the Twitter world. So, BB Brother 22 Updates tweeted, Janelle is officially in trouble. Nicole A just carried everything back to Kevin that Janelle told her, including that Kevin would make lies up in his season to get people evicted. And Kat posts a picture of her in a plane with the little ribbon, the tail that says, Nicole, what the fuck?
I think it's great. Come on, Nicole. Nicole Anthony. We are rooting for your friendship with Janelle. Please do not go spill everything she tells you to everybody else. I am living for this friendship and we want you to go far, Nicole Anthony. I think Janelle legitimately wants to work with you.
Janelle just
Don't
did your
do this.
makeup, girl. Don't be walking
Yeah.
around in your makeup with telling her secrets.
Yeah, don't be spilling things that she tells you, looking all fly from your makeup. Come on, girl.
Also, Cat Dunn. It's Catherine Dunn. We will Venmo you some money. Everyone Venmo Cat $1 so that she can get this plane going and to fly across the
Yeah,
Big
we
Brother
need
house.
this banner going across.
We need this
It
to
can
go on
apply for
CBS.
both of them. I like that it doesn't specify Nicole A or Nicole F. Let it be general. Both of
Let
you. What are
let
you
them
doing?
question it. Let them like what does this mean? What
Yeah,
is
let them
this?
both think about what they're doing in this house. I think that's a really good plan. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the episode last night. We did get to see the veto comp. It was what we thought in that they had to stack the fruits and make sure that their timer did not run out. We did see Ian and Kevin lose track of their time and time out. And it's so heartbreaking for Kevin because he had it. All he had to do was lock in, and he would have won the veto and saved himself. We did not see the drama of Enzo's stack knocking over Keisha's. So we had thought this whole time that maybe it was Enzo's stack knocked over Keisha's, but I think we can probably all agree after seeing Enzo on the banana that it was probably his rocking the banana that knocked Keisha's
It's
stack over
excessive
because it was excessive. It was
thrusting.
almost X rated. So that was pretty
Uh,
entertaining.
I'm glad we
Tonight,
got to see that.
yeah, me too. Oh gosh, so funny. Tonight will be the live eviction. We don't expect anything crazy to happen. Keisha should be going out to meet Julie. What do you think the HOH comp's going to be?
Well, we talked yesterday. We hope it's an endurance comp. Um, and if it is an endurance comp, we will bring you that update the next day before you get to see it. So that's exciting. I just hope it's not one of those luck comps. Like luck HOH comps drive me crazy. I hope it's not a luck
Right.
comp.
Yeah, I definitely want to see an endurance comp. I think we'll see some people hanging on for a really long time. There are a few people that desperately need to win this. So, our friend Alex talks about a Nicole A HOH win tonight would make things explode. I think that could be really interesting. Nicole A is not being brought into any of those majority alliances. So, it would be a lot of fun if she could win it.
It would
We keep
definitely.
we keep talking about we're Janelle and Kaser fans. We can't hide it. I'm always here for a Janelle or Kaser win. Pretty much anything that doesn't go towards that big group of six, I am here for. So, Benel. Hey, I just made up an alliance name for Bailey and Janelle. Bailey, Janelle, Davon, Nicole Anthony, someone like that. That's who I'm rooting for. I
Woman
need to see
power,
women. Yeah,
female
or
power,
Kaser.
or Kaser. Female power or Kaser.
Yeah. So, for
I
sure.
don't know how. The only thing I worry about is I don't know how any of those will hold up in a endurance comp. That's the only thing is like beating
Right.
Kaser. He's pretty fit, physical. He could hold it, but I do worry about like little Nicole Anthony, and I
But
just
she doesn't
worry.
have a lot of body weight, so, if it's something holding your body up, I definitely think she's got a good chance at it. But you also have Danny playing, who historically has done well in endurance comps. Nicole Franzel does well in endurance comps. We might really
We
get
don't
to
know
see
how
what
Christmas.
Christmas can do. So I think it's going to be interesting. Fingers crossed. I want an endurance comp. I want to see it play out on the feeds. I'm going to be up all night long. Can't wait.
Elliot the Red says go Enzo. So all right, we'll see
Show
how
some
Enzo
Enzo
does.
love. Enzo is so
Meow
funny.
meow
Meow
meow.
meow. Yeah, I love Enzo. He's comic. So
I want I so how they play Christmas music every time Christmas is on the screen. I want them to play little cat meows every time Enzo's on the screen. So I don't know if anyone from CBS, Allison Grodner, whoever is watching, please can make that happen. Thanks.
yeah, let's do that. We have a few questions over here. Do you think Houseguest will use the tweeting thing for strategy to influence the viewer's perception of them to get AFP? I definitely think some people could try that out. What do you think?
I think if they're smart, yes. And honestly, if they do it, works for me. I support it. Do it. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing where, we did see Josh use his goodbye messages to show his gameplay. This is just kind of another element of that in getting, because if America does get to decide on powers or advantages and even AFP. So we'll see. We'll see what
Support it.
happens with that.
Do you think Ian, Janelle, or Kaser might go on the block next week? If not, who do you think will?
Oh, yeah. I for sure think that all three of them could be in trouble. I think an Ian HOH could be really interesting too. Um, Ian isn't in any of those big groups either, so He
Yeah.
could shake up the house for sure.
I think like if we see a Tyler HOH win, Janelle Kaser definitely going up.
Yeah, I agree. Tyler, Danny, Nicole F, Memphis.
What if
I,
Enzo wins? Because we saw him give a DR last night on he loves Cody, like that's his ride or die, and we know they have the Roots Alliance. They're the base of that tree. Um, what if Enzo wins? Is he going to put up old school people?
I don't know. That would be interesting to see. He is more working with new school people. He has that Connect Four alliance with Cody and Bailey and Davon. So it would be interesting to see where Enzo goes. I think there's a lot of people that don't need to win this HOH because they will have to show their cards. I think it would be really stupid of Tyler to win the HOH because he has made so many Final Two deals. I think it would be bad for him to win.
Yeah. Who needs to win?
Nicole Franzel probably needs to win. I think if the other side wins, Nicole Franzel's in trouble. Um, Janelle, Kaser, Ian, Nicole Anthony.
They really need to fight for their life tonight.
Yeah, they need to fight for their lives for sure. Tonight, Russell will have a live show after the eviction, and he'll have special guest Cliff Hogg from last season on. So that's something special that y'all are for sure going to want to check out.
Yes.
One more question. How different would the house game been if Josh made it on this season? Hashtag COVID-19. Um, I think it would have been very different. Christmas and Josh would have been a tight two. Josh is so emotional and a wreck that he would have spiced things up for sure. So I kind of wish that Josh would have been in there. I'm not necessarily a fan of his, but I'm always a fan for entertainment. And right now, the BB20 house needs it. They are.
Caller H says none. It wouldn't have changed.
Oh, throwing the shade at the
Or maybe
meatball.
he's talking about Russell's comment says, "What are my chances in Christmas being my next ex-girlfriend?" Oh, Russell.
Better start atting her. Let them build
Hey,
up.
she might see your tweet.
She did say that she thinks she's getting married by the end of the year, so you better make
Mm.
your move.
Make your move now, Russell. You better
Yep.
be at the BB backyard with an engagement ring.
So you may have to go for being an ex-wife and not an ex-girlfriend. Just get past that.
Just go ahead and propose. She
Yeah.
wants to get married.
Yeah, she needs a dress. She's looking for one, so let's just go for that.
All right, guys. Thanks everyone for joining us and for the comments. Be sure to catch us on Instagram and Twitter at reality_TRHS. That's REALITEA_TRHS for the Russell Hand Show. And then for those of you who do Facebook, we have a Facebook page. So join the community at reality.trhs. And don't forget to subscribe to the Russell Hand Show YouTube channel. Drop us some comments, drop us some feedback, hit us with likes, um, subscribe, share. And we look forward to bringing you content tomorrow at 12 o'clock after the live episode tonight. Tomorrow's episode is going to have lots of great information. And hopefully, we might have some updates on where we are with the HOH comps, unless it's a very long endurance comp. So if you don't catch that at the end of the show, we'll be sure to catch you up on the latest tea tomorrow at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. Cheers. Bye, guys.
Bye.